Namm 2020 is underway, and I asked over on Instagram if you guys wanted a news roundup, and an overwhelming majority, over 90%, said yes. Let's talk about all the latest news from Namm 2020. First up, we have the MPC-1, and I haven't really been that into the whole MPC lineup, but this MPC actually looks kind of appetizing to me. So the MPC-1 is a sampler, it's a groove box, it's sort of a workstation. You can use it standalone, so without a computer, or you can use it with a computer as well. And it sports sampling capabilities, virtual synths, virtual instruments, effects, and that sort of stuff. It has 16 pads, 7-inch multi-touch display, 4 touch-sensitive rotaries, and on the back we have a single set of MIDI I/O ports. We have 4 CV and gate jacks for URAC. These seem to be on stereo sockets, TSR, TRS sockets, so you can send up to 8 signals to your Eurorack. The unit has 2 GB of RAM, we have 2 GB of onboard storage, but I've also seen it mentioned that it has 4 GB of storage, so I'm not entirely sure there. And you can use the USB port to add additional storage, as well as an SD card slot, so you can expand the memory of this unit this way. One thing to note though is that it's not battery powered, so you can't take it with you on the go like you could with the MPC Live. And this is the least expensive of the current MPC lineup. It will be around $700, and I think that the MPC Live is around $1,000 currently. In Sweden, about 1,100 euros. So definitely less expensive, but not as feature packed. Now, for somebody like me who aren't that into the MPC lineup, I think this is the most exciting MPC so far. I really like the square form factor. It's very reminiscent of their past with the square MPCs, and yeah, I'm kind of interested in it. So let me know if you want me to check it out here on the channel, if it's something you want to see. And also, if you want to see a review of it, my friend Accurate Beats has a really good video, so I'll link it down in the description. Next up, we have something that a lot of people have been waiting for, me included, and that is the Arturia Keystep Pro. It looks to be a really good upgrade to the Keystep. It will sport 4 polyphonic tracks, and you can switch one of the tracks to a drum track, so you can use it for drums as well. And it seems to be this mix between the Keystep and the Keystep Pro in a sense. It also has 8 drum gates for integrating with URAC, as well as CV and gate for the individual polyphonic tracks. And what about the price? Well, it's competitively priced around $450. 399 euros, which I think is actually really competitively priced, considering that the closest I can think of is the Novation SL Mark III keyboard that I reviewed here on the channel, and that one is still over $600. So yeah, I think that for especially URAC users, and this will be a no-brainer. So I've linked some stuff about the Keystep Pro down in the description. And you can of course expect a review of the Keystep Pro here on the channel later this spring. Next up, let's talk Roland. Now, Roland didn't really have anything that I thought was super interesting at Namm 2020, but they did have a press release talking about their Zencore synthesis engine, the engine in the 707 and in the Jupiter XM. And it seems that a big reason that they switched from their ACB technology, the technology in the boutiques, to this Zencore system is they want to create this kind of unified synthesis system for all their new synths, which I think is really interesting. And let me read some stuff here from the press release. The Zencore engine will mean that tones, sounds created on one instrument can be shared with other users or transferred into completely different compatible Roland hardware. So this means that their idea is that you'll be able to transfer sounds from one system to another. They also mention that we will see updates in the second quarter of the year to the MC101 and the 707. I thought it was really interesting reading this press release, because in my video I talked about the need for sort of a platform where users could share their sounds For example, MC707 and 101 users could upload their sounds and share them across the two synths, but here it seems that Roland are really trying to create this unified platform with the Zencore engine, and I do hope that they take some of our community suggestions seriously, because I think it's a great idea. I think they should really build on it. So I was happy to see this, and I hope of course that they listen to some of our other suggestions as well. Next up, let's talk about a mixer that I thought was interesting. Tascam are coming out with the Modal 12 mixer, so it's a 10 input mixer. It's also a digital recorder, standalone recorder, so you can record into the mixer, or you can multi-track over USB to the computer. And I think that this affordable, Tascam is often very affordable. These small form factor mixers are quite interesting for anybody with a hardware synth setup wanting to record multiple synths. However, 10 inputs is, in my experience, a little bit on the low end. So if you have a big synth setup, make sure that you aren't running out of mixer channels. And they actually have an older 16 version, Model 16 and Model 24, so you could look at those as well if you need more channels. But the Model 12 mixer looks interesting. I'll drop some links about it in the description. Next piece of news is from Modal, and they're actually making a desktop version and a larger keyboard version of the Argon 8, and I did tease this on my Facebook page before Namm as well, just because a lot of you were asking about a potential desktop unit. So the desktop and 61 key version seems pretty much exactly the same as the Argon 8 that I have here, and I recently put out a first look video at the Argon 8. I think it's an interesting synth for sure, and I'm really happy to see the desktop version simply because a lot of people were asking for it. I think it's actually a really good idea to have it as a desktop version. It's also great seeing Modal release different versions of the Argon 8 because it points towards Modal having a lot of confidence in their platform, in their synth engine, in the Argon 8 series, and I hope that this means that they will actually make improvements also to the software side of the Argon 8. There are a few things that I'd love to see, for example, a little bit better responsiveness when you turn the knobs and stuff like that. Small tweaks that I think are needed, and I probably will bring up in a future review of the Argon 8. But overall, the Argon 8 is a synth that's really growing on me. It's not the most versatile, but damn, it does sound really good, and it's a lot of fun to program. So super happy to see a desktop version and a 61 key version. Next up we have Moog, and they're coming out with the Subsequent 25. So it's basically an updated Sub Fatty. It's a paraphonic synth and it has a new synth engine. I guess it builds on the engine from the Sub 37 and later the Subsequent 37. And speaking of updated synths, Nord is also making big waves. Pun intended. They're making big waves with the announcement of their Nord Wave 2. It's a 4-part performance synth with virtual analog synth engine, and it has FM. And it also does sound pretty damn nice. So here's a little demo from one of their trailers. And what about Korg? Well, before Namm, we of course saw the release of the Wave State. I have a video here on the channel. We also have the new reissue of the ARP 2600. It's probably already sold out, super expensive reissue, but seems to be really cool. But they're also re-releasing their full-sized MS-20 in 4 different colors. It will also be a limited edition, and from what I've heard, it's priced around $1,400. If somebody heard something else, you can just drop a comment. And this synth was previously available as a kit, but now they will offer it as a fully assembled synth. I'll put a link in the description as usual. Next up, let's talk Behringer. I don't think that they were officially at Namm, but they have announced their new Jura clones of the Roland System 100. The prices are said to be around $50 to $100 per module. I don't know the European prices for that yet, and you can read more. I've linked an article in the description. Next up we have a synth that I think looks amazing and sounds really cool. If I had the space and the money, I'd get one, but yeah. Sequential is coming out with a big synth called the Pro 3. It's apparently a monophonic synth with both analog VCOs and a digital oscillator, so 3 oscillators in total, 2 analog, 1 digital, and it also sports wavetables for the digital oscillator, and I think it sounds pretty convincing. So here's a little sound demo from one of their videos. Last in this news roundup, we have the rumor that Korg is working on a full-sized FM synthesizer. So according to Music Radar, it's apparently a Volca FM, but full-sized, and it does look kind of similar to something like a DX7. So whether or not this is the final design, if they're actually making this synth, I don't know. As of yet, we don't have anything but rumors, but it would be kind of cool to see FM synth building on what they've done with the Volca FM and making it full-sized. Personally, not a big fan of the prototype design. I would love something a little bit more current generation, but I'm sure some of you that loves the classics will like this design. So these were some of my Namm highlights, some of the Namm news that I thought was interesting, exciting. Let me know in the comment section what excited you the most, what you're most hyped about. And yeah, see you in another video.